So take white, and you're going to write your name and your class code. So the first few steps is we're going to make hills. And we're going to make hills like they're going off in the distance. Like it's a beautiful Midwest landscape. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to draw in a curved line from the corner, in the corner there. Wait. And then we find somewhere in the middle-ish of that curved line, and we draw a line to the end of the paper. And then we find somewhere in the middle here to somewhere in the middle there. And that's how you make hills going off into the distance. So everybody make a few hills going off to the distance. I would say somewhere between 4 to 6 hills would be enough. You have 50. So we don't want this to look like stark white. We want it to look like kind of like snow. And snow kind of reflects at night and it looks a little bluish. And we're going to use this coloring placemat because then we won't see how we got these lines here and it looks like the texture of our table. With the coloring placemat, it's much smoother. And what we're going to do is we're going to very lightly, we don't want to put a lot of color on here. We're going to lightly put a little blue in there, just ever so slight. Do you see how ever so slight that is? And I'm not even going all the way, just a little tint of blue, like that. Okay, just a little tint, because then I'm going to, and I'm not going to use the side, I'm going to use the point. And you need to make sure that you're going in the same direction as that hill line. See how that white is blending in with that blue? Yeah. And you have to make sure that you're going in that same direction because the brush strokes show up here and really show up here. And then that's when you get to use your smudgy stick. Because using your smudgy stick, you smudge that together. Again, you want to go in that same direction. And if you discover there is not quite enough white on there, put some more white down and smudge it in. And smudgy it in. And smudgy it in. Now look what happens if you don't go in the right direction. I'll have that example here. So if I've got my hill here, and then I got my blue, and then I'm just like scribbling, 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 and scribble, scribble, scribble. Does that look like a hill? No, it doesn't. This hill shows up because you're going in the right line direction. And you've got to make sure that you go all the way. Does that look right there to have that blank there? No. So when you smudge, you can smudge it all the way to the edge, but you need to make sure that you do smudge it all the way to the edge. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to show you what the next step is. So now that we have our hills, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit for us. Now we're going to add our trees. Now what we learned way back in kindergarten or in first grade was things that are up close look big and things that are far, far away look itty bitty, right? So for our hills up here, we're going to have big trees. For our hills in the middle, they're going to be medium size. And for the hills that are all the way back here, they're going to be teeny tiny. So here's how we make trees. Here's how we're going to make trees for this project. There's lots of ways to make trees. We're going to make a straight line, and when it's up close, it's going to be a thick straight line. Now see how it's picking up some of that white there? That's on purpose. So now it looks like it's slightly dusted with snow. And a thick line here, and a regular size line there. Ooh, that's a little big. I'll make this one bigger for scale. And some tiny ones back here, tiny ones back here, tiny ones back here. So then we have our forest with no leaves, which is that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start in the back and work our way forwards. And to do that, we're just going to make this sort of zigzag line going down. Zigzag line going down. You guys see how? Zig, 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 zig. And the reason why we start in the back here and work our way forward is for overlapping. So now I'm ready to make this one. And I'm just going to make a ziggy-zag line that gets bigger as I go down. Like that. Now see how what that does is that blends in that brown with that green, so it looks like branches. And then I do the same on the other side. And see how it's also picking up some of the white from the snow on the ground? Now if I really want to get fancy, I can add just a few little white lines there. Just a few. Okay? And then ziggy-zaggy lines. Ziggy-zaggy lines. And a few boop, 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 boop. Not a ton. Just a boop, boop. And some ziggy, 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 ziggy. Getting bigger the further I go down. And you want to make sure that you get all the way back to that trunk. Because I've seen kids do this. And I'm like, no. Just no. So you want to make sure that you when you go up to the trunk and away from the trunk, to the trunk and back, trunk back, trunk back, trunk back, and you just get a little bit bigger, 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 bigger. But each time you always go back to the trunk. Ziggy, ziggy, zig, da, 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 da. And if it's like, oh, that kind of looks bad, you know what? Just blend it in. There we go. Now, when you're done with that and it's looking gorgeous, you're going to bring it back to me at my supply table. You're going to put it on a tray. I am going to take some white paint and a toothbrush, and this is a teacher job. And I'm going to flicky some snow on. And then you're going to take it back to your seat. You're going to take it back to your seat and you're going to upload it to Artsonia. Then you're going to put it in the drying rack to dry. So we're actually going to upload it wet. So keep it on the tray. Does that make sense? Yeah. Alright, does everybody understand how to do the trees? Yeah. And then you come up to me. Yeah. And then you upload to Artsonia.